It's time for the Michael Huddleston Show on HUDRadio.com.
I appreciate your input.
832-699-0110. Well, it looks like the Republicans are going to distance themselves from the Senate race in Missouri, all because the Republican candidate said something that really wasn't that controversial, but the liberal media has twisted it around to seem very controversial. So, of course, Republicans, instead of standing up for their guy and taking the seat in the Senate, they said, oh, no, I need to look out for my own personal interests, and I need to make sure that I keep my seat in Congress, so I'm going to go ahead and distance myself and say that he needs to step down. But thus is the typical Republican ball game in Washington. But that's not what we're going to talk about tonight. A new Real Clear Politics poll came out showing that slightly more Americans agree with Obama. They approve of his job rating, 48.7% to 48% for all the math majors out there. That's only a 0.7% differential. Congress's approval rating went down in this poll, down to 14.3%, and disapproval 78.5%. That's a 64.2% swing. And 32% Americans believe that the country's going in the right direction, and 61.2% believe it's going in the wrong direction, a swing of 29.2. So those are interesting numbers. That's the first time in a while that Real Clear Politics has had a poll where Obama was had his approval rating higher than not. But what we're going to talk about today is why Obama must go, why Democrats in general must go. And so we're going to take a look at 6 campaign promises, the big 6 that he campaigned on in 2008, and we're going to kind of give you an update 4 years later on where those are at. 4 years ago, he said that 5 million new energy jobs would be created, and this was evidenced by him trying to create jobs through Solyndra, through other companies pushing green energy jobs through GM and Chrysler, the Chevy Volt, for instance, and in return ended up being a net loss of 500,000 jobs so far this year as of last month. This is just fascinating to me that he thought that he was just going to walk in and create 5 million new jobs, and that's not how it happens. In fact, not only just create 5 million new jobs, but create 5 million new jobs while putting a tax burden on the people who create the jobs and people who create the businesses that create the jobs. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. Either you want to raise taxes and lower the jobs in this country and make people more dependent on government, or you don't. You can't do both. And he hasn't quite figured that out yet. And we'll get to his one and only excuse that he always keeps giving about these things in a minute. The second one was he wanted to bring down insurance premiums by $2,500 in 4 years. The Kaiser Family Foundation, which is a foundation that works with families who need help with their insurance costs, did a study, and they come out with the average premium for families. And this is as of this year, as of 2012. The average premium per family household is $15,073. If you have not been keeping count at home, that is $1,303 more than what it was in 2008. So it did not cut insurance premiums by $2,500. Not even get close. In fact, didn't cut them at all. It raised $1,300. There was a 9% increase in premium costs from 2010 to 2011, and a 3% rise 2009 to 2010. Those rises are due to the fact that there's more people on welfare. The government has this idea that you cannot operate and you cannot live in this world without their hands, without their helping hands, because the government is so helpful, and the government will help you achieve what you want to do. Just give your whole life away, and let them direct everything that goes on in your life. So what happens when people do that? There's more people on food stamps, more people on Medicaid, more people needing the government handout to live their daily life. So, of course, the costs of insurance premiums go up. Because who's paying for Joe Blow and his 4 kids to go to the hospital every time they're sick? They don't have insurance. Somebody's got to pay for it. That's you and me, the people who are paying for their insurance, or the companies that pay for the employees' insurance. I work for the state of Texas. In the state of Texas, you're employed. You get benefits that are pretty dang good. I can go to the doctor and pay a $25 copay. I think it's $30 now, but $25 or $30 copay. I pay zero every month for my health insurance just to cover me. Now, if I added my wife, it would be $420 a month, but still a pretty dang good deal. If you work for the state and you just employ yourself, it's free. Anything free is good. But the state of Texas and the ERS system are picking up the tab on people who don't have the insurance, who walk into John Peter Smith Hospital or walk into Bergstrom, or not Bergstrom, into the hospital there in Austin, the county hospital, and Brackenridge. The people who walk into the county hospitals in Bexar County, in Harris County, in El Paso County, and walk in there and get health care for free because they're not going to pay their bills because they don't have the money, A, or B, they're illegal, and there's no way to track them down because they give a fake ID and a fake residence and a fake everything else. So, of course, the average premiums are going to go up when you expect people to rely on you, the government, for their life. President Obama guaranteed that his financial plan would help, in quote, save foreclosures. Well, A, what financial plan was he talking about? Because in 4 years, there hasn't really been a financial plan. It's been more of, well, we're going to do this, do this, and just trust us. That's part of our plan. Now, we don't really have a plan written out, but trust us, we have a plan to do it. But this plan is going to help curb foreclosures, because that's really what the big issue was in 2008, was the home mortgage crisis. Well, here's the debunking to that. Home values have gone down 35% since 2008. So if a home doesn't cost as much as it did in 2008, then that means somebody's got the money to that. Somebody's holding the other 35% of that, because the value of that home. Let me run in my mouth into something that's not making sense. Let me put it this way: the home was built in 2000. It was built for $96,000. Nowadays, in 2010, it is worth $70,000 or $60,000. Well, there's a problem with that, because random guy on the street pays $96,000 for that house, turns around a year or 10 years later and sells it for $60,000. He's out $30,000 on his house. So his net profits or net losses on that house after 10 years, which is supposed to appreciate, is now $30,000, $36,000 in the hole. So he's paying more for that house than what it's worth when he sells it, which in turn causes mortgages to be higher, interest rates to be higher. It makes it harder for other people to get loans for these houses, and it's what causes the quote-unquote the mess in the first place. It's what was happening through Fannie and Freddie. It was just kind of wrapped in nice Christmas paper with a bow on it. And now it's happening in the real world, not behind financial institutions, but it's happening to random people on the street who are trying to get a house, and they can't do it because home prices are so freaking valued so freaking low, but still selling for so freaking high. Oh, we are just on a roll here. According to Christina Romer and Jared Bernstein, they are the chief researchers on the Obama team. They were sent out in 2008 to analyze the financial situation that Obama was going to get himself into. And both of them came back and reported that unemployment would not rise above 8% if the stimulus that was passed in 2009 passed. Well, it did, and guess what? It has been 41 straight months without unemployment being below 8%. That didn't happen. One of the president's biggest excuses that he keeps giving over and over and over and over and over again is that the financial mess and the economic position that the country was in at the time he took over was a lot worse than what he knew. That is a lie and a lying crock of crap, because he knew what he was getting into, and he did it with aspirations of winning a second term. This whole first term that he's been in office from 2008 to 2012 has been nothing but campaigning and setting up a second term. That's why it scares me. Because if you spend first 4 years of your presidency and gamble it on the fact that you're setting yourself up to win the election in 2012, but you're not telling people what you're going to do in 2012, that scares me. Because that means that I'm setting myself up, and I realize there's accountability, and I can't do certain things, because if I do those certain things, I'm not going to get reelected. But when I get reelected November 7th, 2012, from that point on, I can do whatever I want, and I can change the rules, write the laws, pass things that I want to, executive order this, executive order that, do whatever the hell I want to do, because what's there to lose? I can't run in 2004 or 2016. I can't run because that's the end of my second term. See, that's why it's scary, and that's why it's a crock of crap that any person with a brain should realize is happening here. You can't convince me that you send out two economists out to survey the economic situation that you're about to take over. When they come back and tell you, hey, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's really bad, it's really not going to pass, or it's really not going to help, this whole stimulus thing is probably going to make it worse, but go ahead and pass it because that's going to help you look like you did something. That's all that was. Don't let any libtard tell you different, because that's exactly what happened. First year of his presidency, 2009, he said that he would cut the deficit in half. Okay, he said he would cut the deficit in half. There was a $1.3 trillion deficit in 2008. In 2012, there was a $1.25 trillion deficit. It doesn't take a mathematician to figure out the fact that, yes, he cut the deficit. Let's be real. He cut the deficit, but he cut the deficit by $0.05 trillion. So he cut it by $500 million, or $5 billion. Woo! He gets a cookie. Because that really isn't anything. Number one, he didn't keep that campaign promise. He's just raided the Treasury. And it just, as we keep going down this list, there's one more we got to get to. As we keep going down this list, and during my show prep, I can't grasp on to a reason why anybody would want to reelect this guy. He is the most unelectable person to ever run for president. And we had presidents like James Garfield, and we had presidents like William Harrison, and we had presidents like Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter running for office. And this guy is more unelectable than any of those guys. He's the most unelectable president that's ever tried to run. He said at the end of his first term he would lift 2 million people out of poverty. He hasn't done that. There's been a record 46 million people in poverty. That has just absolutely shot through the roof since 2008. So maybe he lifted 2 million people out of poverty who weren't in poverty in 2000, who were in poverty in 2008. Maybe those 2 million people aren't in poverty now, but he just replaced those people with other people and put an exponent on that number. That's why this guy has to go. There's absolutely no way that any person with a brain would be able to vote for him in good conscience. Not to mention the fact that America's credit was downgraded, first time ever in history, and America should be the pillar of financial responsibility in this world, and we can't say that because we're not anymore. The standard of living has gone up more steeply than it ever has since the government started recording these things 50 years ago. Income, the average household income has decreased. And if you need any more reason why you shouldn't vote for this guy and why he has to go, it's for this right here. In 2008, I think it was 2008, he went on the NBC Tonight. He went on the NBC 6:30 show, whatever that is now, the NBC World News Tonight or something. And he told Matt Lauer that if the economy was not fixed in 3 years, that is 3 years from 2007, 2010, if the economy was not fixed, he would be a one-term president. He is still running and the economy is still sucking. in Congress in 2008, he preached about bad economic practices, and he preached that we were shedding jobs, and he preached that government needed to get out of people's lives and government needed to reduce their stranglehold on businesses, and yet we have seen nothing since the day he was elected to hold to what he spoke about. So I've rambled on here for 15 minutes on why he shouldn't be elected again. So take these things to thought. Think about them. Talk to your kids about it. Talk to your wife about it. Talk to your husband about it. Talk to your grandmother, your grandfather, your aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, whoever. And talk to them and get the word out that this is why he shouldn't be elected. Because he is the most unelectable person ever in history. And if we elect him again and we spend another 4 years under Obama, there are just a multitude of things that you're going to see that are un-American, unconstitutional, and unlawful. And I mark my words, not April 20th. It is August 20th, 2012 at 7:12 p.m. That is what will happen. So, your thoughts, your comments, your arguments, your hate or your love, send them on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/mhud radio, or you can give us a call at 832-699-0110. Leave us a voice message and let us hear about it, and we'll play it on the air. So, that's all the time we have for today. Again, I challenge you as listeners on this show to think about these things, and if you don't believe me, look them up. Politifax.com is a great website to look things up, because they are a nonpartisan. They will tell you when Obama has been right, and he's told the truth. They'll tell you when he's been wrong. So look them up. Do your research. If you don't believe me, that's the only thing I can challenge you to do is to research it and prove to me that I'm wrong. And if you believe me, the thing I can tell you the most and challenge you the most to do is to get out and preach it to other people. So, stay tuned. We have another great week of programming coming up, and we'll talk to you later.